This is True Crime Stories. Let's take this case step by step.
Ruja Ignatova walked onto the stage at Wembley Arena in June of 2016, wearing a floor-length ball gown, diamond earrings, and dark red lipstick. 90,000 investors had paid to be in that room. She told them, with complete confidence, that in 2 years, nobody would be speaking about Bitcoin anymore. Her cryptocurrency, OneCoin, was the future. The crowd applauded and whistled. Cameras flashed. She smiled like someone who already knew how it ended. Sofia, Bulgaria, 2014 to 2017. Here's what actually happened. OneCoin was co-founded in 2014 by Ignatova and a Swedish-British promoter named Carl Sebastian Greenwood. On paper, the company sold cryptocurrency investment packages, starter tier, trader tier, all the way up to something called Tycoon Trader. Investors sent money to a designated bank account and received OneCoins in return. The packages came bundled with educational materials about trading and finance, which OneCoin marketed as the real product to keep the structure looking legal. The materials were plagiarized from free internet sources. Investigators would confirm this later in court filings. The coin itself had no blockchain. That detail is the entire story, so it's worth slowing down on. Every legitimate cryptocurrency runs on a public distributed ledger, a blockchain, where every transaction is verifiable by anyone in the world. OneCoin didn't have one. It ran on a private database on the company's own servers. The value of a OneCoin was a number that Ignatova's team typed in and changed whenever they felt like it. Federal prosecutors would later state this plainly. OneCoin's price was not set by market supply and demand. It was manipulated privately by OneCoin itself. Investors couldn't actually spend OneCoins. They couldn't reliably trade them. They couldn't withdraw them to an external wallet because no external wallet existed. But the dashboard showed a balance that went up every month, and that was enough. The structure beneath the coin was a multi-level marketing network. Members earned commissions for recruiting new members. New investor money paid the returns of older investors. The classic shape of a Ponzi scheme, dressed in the language of a tech revolution. Between the fourth quarter of 2014 and the fourth quarter of 2016 alone, OneCoin generated 4.037 billion euros in sales revenue. Over 3 million people in more than 170 countries bought in. Investments came from China, Pakistan, Brazil, Norway, Canada, Yemen, Hong Kong, Uganda. Rural investors in Uganda lost their homes. Wealthy investors in Hong Kong lost millions of dollars. The reach was the point. And Ignatova was the face of all of it. Oxford educated, a former consultant at McKinsey & Company, a PhD. She spoke 5 languages. She was, on every available metric, exactly the kind of person investors trusted with their money. The Facade started cracking in 2016. Investors who tried to cash out their OneCoins discovered they couldn't. The internal exchange was throttled. Withdrawal limits, processing delays, accounts mysteriously frozen for review. Forum posts started appearing in multiple languages. Words like Ponzi began surfacing in financial press. Central banks in Bulgaria, Germany, Italy, China, and Thailand started issuing public warnings about OneCoin. Behind the scenes, the laundering operation was getting harder to manage. A Florida lawyer named Mark Scott had been brought in to move OneCoin proceeds through a fake investment fund he called the Finero Funds. Court records would later show roughly $400 million routed through Scott's structure, through banks in the Cayman Islands, Ireland, and the British Virgin Islands. To disguise its origin, Scott was paid around $50 million for the work. He spent it on a yacht, a Porsche, 3 homes on the East Coast, and a watch collection. In China, authorities moved first. Police prosecuted 98 individuals connected to OneCoin and recovered roughly 1.7 billion yuan, about 267 million US dollars. German financial regulators issued a cease and desist. The BBC began investigating. United States prosecutors in the Southern District of New York started building a wire fraud case. And somewhere in this period, the FBI would later say, Ignatova made a decision that changed her life. According to federal investigators, she suspected her American boyfriend, Gilbert R. Menta, was cooperating with the U.S. probe. So she had his apartment bugged. The recordings confirmed it. He was talking to the FBI. On October 12, 2017, a federal warrant for Ignatova's arrest was issued under seal in the Southern District of New York. The charges: wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, securities fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Each count carried a maximum of 20 years. The warrant was supposed to be secret. 13 days later, October 25, 2017, Ignatova was scheduled to speak at a OneCoin promoter event in Lisbon. She never arrived. Instead, she drove to Sofia Airport, boarded a Ryanair commercial flight to Athens, and walked off the plane in Greece. That is the last verified sighting of Ruja Ignatova anywhere in the world. Someone, somewhere, had tipped her off. The collapse afterward moved fast. Her brother, Konstantin Ignatov, took over as CEO. He was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport in March of 2019 and later pleaded guilty to fraud and money laundering. His charges carry a combined maximum of 90 years. Carl Sebastian Greenwood was arrested in Thailand in July of 2018, extradited to the United States, pleaded guilty in 2022, and was sentenced in September of 2023 to 20 years in federal prison. Mark Scott, the lawyer, was convicted of bank fraud and money laundering in 2019. Irina Dielkinska, the company's purported head of legal and compliance, was extradited from Bulgaria in 2023 and sentenced to 4 years for laundering roughly $110 million in OneCoin, proceeds to a Cayman Islands entity. Ruja Ignatova has never been found. In June of 2022, the FBI added her to the 10 most wanted fugitives list, the only woman on it. The U.S. State Department reward for information leading to her capture currently sits at $5 million. In 2023, a Bulgarian investigative outlet published a leaked police report claiming Ignatova had lost her life in November of 2018 aboard a yacht in the Ionian Sea on the orders of a Bulgarian organized crime figure, allegedly to bury his connection to OneCoin. The FBI has publicly stated it has no information to confirm that account and continues its investigation under the assumption she is still alive. In April of 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice opened a $40 million compensation fund for OneCoin victims, about 1 cent on every dollar lost. What makes OneCoin distinctive isn't the size, although $4 billion is a staggering number. It's the cover. Ignatova didn't hide the scheme behind complexity. She hid it behind the most hyped technology trend of the decade, in a moment when ordinary investors had been told that not understanding the technology was the whole reason they were missing out. The credential stack, Oxford, McKinsey, PhD, ball gowns at Wembley, wasn't decoration. It was the mechanism. It told 3 million people they didn't need to verify the blockchain themselves because someone serious already had. Nobody had. Here's the question worth sitting with. If a scheme this large could run for 3 years across 170 countries, propped up almost entirely by the credentials of one person and the unfamiliarity of one technology, what's the version of it running right now that nobody has noticed yet? Drop your answer in the comments.